acquire this right, expand this right rather, really hasn't featured in any consultation from either party, either side of the workplace.
I think the noble lord, the minister, may have answered his own question there, because if the consultation was with trade unionists about whether there was any need for non-trade unionists to go in, then they give you one answer. But I just wanted to clarify one thing. Clarify one thing, which is, it is true that I've never been a trade union official, but I've been a rank and file trade union member for decades, and am not anti-trade union. But I do not think the world stops and starts at trade unions. And I wanted to ask the noble lord if he understood that at the moment the statutory right to be accompanied by a trade union official is not in-house. Because actually the way the law is phrased is any trade union official, even one from a union that you've never joined, from a completely unrelated sector. That's the way the law is. And so I wanted to know whether that's fair, or whether that wording could change. And what's wrong with somebody like a citizens' advice caseworker or what have you, because the numbers of people who are in the trade unions just don't tally for people to be accompanied fairly at the moment. So unless there's an 80% increase in trade union membership, it's obviously two-tier and discriminatory at present.
Well, to respond to the first point the noble lady made, perhaps I didn't enunciate clear enough, but I said in the consultation the demand for change, so it didn't come from either trade unions or indeed employers. Employees.
This is the final word. This is not a trade union rights bill. This is an employment rights bill. It's casually known as the Workers' Rights Bill. There are millions and millions of workers who aren't in trade unions for a variety of reasons, including your own Minister, Angela Rayner, as I just noted. And all I'm suggesting is, I'm simply suggesting that, therefore, when you ask employers or trade unionists if there is a demand for this, then rank-and-file workers are being ignored. I'm suggesting you acknowledge them and empower them.
I just want to put the record straight, because we've heard much about the Deputy Prime Minister and her not being in the union. Actually, she is in the union. She's in the union called Unison, and has been for a number of years. So I didn't want you to go home tonight thinking that no one would represent the Deputy Prime Minister.
I thank my noble friend Baroness Nichols of Selby for that helpful clarification. I thought that was the case, but I'm glad that she made it. She's in a far better position than I am to talk about Unison and its membership. And in response to Baroness Fox, I want to be clear. In all the consultation that we have undertaken with a wide variety of stakeholders, this issue has not come up. So it's not that I'm saying, oh, we talked to some trade unions and guess what, they're quite happy with the status quo. Genuinely, this issue has not come up. That is simply the fact that this is not an issue for workplaces. That's why I described it in.
Lord the Minister, understand that there is a two-tier system here, though. That if you're a trade unionist, you can have somewhat more professional attendance than somebody who's not a trade unionist, and that's what's important.
To be clear, it's if there's a recognised trade union, you're a member of a trade union, you can take a trade union representative, but you can also have a right to be accompanied by a workmate, and you don't need to take. If you are a member of a trade union, you don't need to take that trade union representative along. You could indeed have you could. There was another intervention. You could indeed have a workmate come along, and indeed employers, responsible employers, if they want to have more flexibility around this area, they can write this into their terms and conditions. And there's nothing to stop people doing that, and that's why I suggested again to use the phrase. It is we think this is it's a solution search for a problem. It's not something that we really need to respond to in the legislation, because it might create unintended consequences, and in terms of the Noble Lord Palmer's amendment, unfair administrative burdens on employers. So I therefore ask the Noble Lord Palmer Child Seal to withdraw Amendment 98.